It sounds like two Xerox machines fucking each other. And it took me a while to wrap my head around it, but that stuff still stands up today. Some of the songs on that very first album sound just as fresh now as they did all the way back then. But you are from Omaha. Let's talk about the Omaha music scene a little bit. Are there a bunch of good bands out there? Are there a bunch of good venues that would host electronic music such as your own?
It's more of an underground type of scene. There's a lot of people don't really know, but there's a lot of different local bands that really get good support from the local community. There's a few venues, there's like, say, for example, So-Called Underground and like the Waiting Room, or a couple different smaller venues and bars where you will get bigger acts sometimes that will come through, or even, a friend of mine, I know he's recently played at So-Called Auditorium, so you don't necessarily need to be that big of a name. And as far as my music, I don't know if I've really seen too many other artists around this area that really do exactly what I do. Some of them are just kind of different types of music, really. It's really a wide range, but I don't think there's much of I suppose, industrial type of scene here. But, maybe that's something that I can open people up to around here if given the opportunity.
Well, if you just get people to listen to the music, I think they're going to be hooked pretty quick. I know I was. Some music, it takes a little while for it to sink in before you really pick up on what's going down and really become a fan. As soon as I heard the first song from you, I was like, man, I like this. I got to get this guy on the show. Let me ask you about the name Radial Core. What's the concept behind that name?
Well, I really kind of struggled for, a period of time trying to come up with something that didn't sound, too ridiculous to people. Or, I'm sure you've seen bands before that, regardless of if they have good music or not, you may see their name right off the top and just be like, I don't even want to listen to that. That's just, the name may put you off right away. So I tried to find something that kind of fit what I was doing, as well as something that I could live with. If I were to be doing this, 10 years from now, if I would look at that name and say, why did I choose that? But I also was trying to just find something that was unique. If you search Radio Core, nothing really comes up that makes any sense. But the reason I kind of stumbled upon it was I was just looking at some different pictures of tornadoes because, Omaha being, Tornado Alley, and I was just kind of looking through different pictures and things trying to spark kind of an idea. And I saw one graphic, and at the top of the tornado it said, there was an arrow pointed to Radio Core, and I just thought that sounded good, and it just kind of stuck with me. But for the average person, they may just look at that and interpret it in their own way, or kind of think what they want about it. But it's not really something that you'll see the name right away and instantly know, okay, well, that's tool. I know what a tool is, or something like that. But maybe make people think a little bit.
Right on, man. I think I'm picking up what you're laying down. So let's get a song on the air for the listeners. This is the first track I heard from you, and I still listen to it at least once a day. It's called Brink of Never. What can you tell us about this song?
I was just kind of trying to think about something to write about, and I was actually on an airplane at the time, flying across the country, and part of me, I guess, was just kind of thinking, this could be something good, or this could eventually lead to nothing, so it's kind of just a different way of thinking, like, maybe I'm on the brink of something, maybe I'm on the brink of nothing. So just kind of, I guess, the thought behind that, but also, it's kind of left up to the, the mystery and the art form of it and connect with it in their own way. So.
Take the thoughts that are in my head, scrape them onto the wall instead. My soul is sick and will never be clean. Blackest thing that you've ever seen. 100 wars, none of them won. 1,000 whores and not one son. Another beautiful endeavor. I know I'll feel this way forever. Can someone please pull me back down? Hanging on the brink of never, brink of never, never. A 1,000 miles up in the sky. Only place I thought I could hide. I can hear the screams as they surround me. They surround me. I knew it was coming. I knew they found me. 100 times and none of them tick. 1,000 tongues and not one lick. Another beautiful endeavor. I know I'll feel this way forever. Can someone please pull me back down? Hanging on the brink of never, brink of never. Another beautiful endeavor. Someday you and I will be together. You can flip the switch, I'll pull the lever, and we'll hang on the brink of never. 100 lies, not one fear. 1,000 cries, not one tear. Tear me apart, every little bit. 1,000,000 pieces, and none of them fit.
All right, that was Brink of Never by Radio Core on the fam.com podcast. Now, John, if the listeners are digging what they're hearing, where can they find your music? What websites can they hit up?
Well, right now the main site that I post all my work on is on Reverb Nation. You can just search me, Radio Core. There's no silly numbers or anything like that on the end of that, so you can just find it easily. Also, you can find me on Facebook or Twitter under the same names, and I have links on there that you can go to my Reverb Nation account. And you can also check me out if you have a SoundCloud. It's under the same name.
Right on, man. And for the listeners, it's at Radio Core on Twitter if you want to follow him there. Let me ask you this, bro. What type of gear do you use to create your music?
Well, right now I have just like a regular keyboard, just like a Casio keyboard that I use a little bit to kind of figure out what kind of maybe melody or sound I want for a song. And then from there, I just have like a basic digital audio workstation that I create things on, and then I use a microphone to just basically record on top of that. And, you know, eventually, you know, with a budget and everything, I would love to be able to have more at my disposal, but I'm really doing the best that I can with what I have. And, you know, you can, with music, you can have all the gear and the $1 million studio and everything, but if you have somebody in there who, you know, just doesn't have it in them to create anything that people want to listen to, then at the end of the day, it's really up to the artist to, you know, convey whatever they can with, you know, with what they have.
All right, now let me ask you hypothetically. The phone rings and it's Trent fucking Reznor on the line, and he's like, "Dude, I've listened to your music and I think it's pretty good." That's my Trent Reznor impersonation. "I think it's pretty good, and I'm going to be in Omaha next weekend, and I've rented out a club. I want to see how you play in front of a crowd." That's a terrible Trent Reznor impersonation. But anyway, let's say you got a last second gig here, you know, to play a really big show live. Do you have the gear to handle that? Or would you have to hire some musicians to get up on stage with you?
Yeah, I have thought a little bit about it. I would like to definitely have you know, I've only got about 5 songs that I've actually completed. I'm working on some other stuff right now, so I would definitely like to have a little bit more before I were to do something like that. But that, I mean, an opportunity like that, I don't think I would be able to pass up. If even for, you know, for the experience to just be able to, you know, get in front of people and, you know, do what I would want to do. But yeah, I have thought a little bit about it. And, you know, whether or not I could pull it off by myself, I don't really think that's really feasible. So at some point I may have to, you know, get people to sort of run things for me or play things for me while performing. But something like that, I mean, that would just be an amazing opportunity, you know, something that's like you would dream about, especially if it was, you know, Trent Reznor, because, you know, the crowd he would be playing for would probably be the most receptive to, you know, my kind of music.
Now, besides industrial and electronic music, are there bands from different genres that you enjoy listening to as well?
I would say for a little while, I listened to a lot of, like, I'd say Linkin Park. I always kind of enjoyed what they did. It's something a little bit different. And then at the same time, you know, with like Fort Minor, where Mike Shinoda did his own thing, and then Dead by Sunrise, like where Chester Bennington came out and did his, you know, own band without Mike. I really enjoyed, you know, kind of the stuff that they created. For a little while, there was like a lot of, you know, rap and hip hop was pretty big, you know, back when I was, you know, in high school and things like that. But, you know, now it's like, it just seems like it's kind of the same regurgitated thing over and over, and it got old really fast. So I kind of tried to seek out different things that, you know, aren't really what most people listen to, because I really enjoy hearing different sounds and, you know, different creative things and just seeing what people can create.
Now, as I was on your Reverb Nation page, you actually have a track up there that's a David Bowie cover. I didn't know that at the time. I thought it was original at first, but then it did sound so familiar. I went and Googled it, and yeah, you did a good job covering Bowie and making it sound dark and weird. How'd you come up with the idea to do that particular song?
Well, I had been looking through a lot of old, you know, Trent Reznor interviews and things that he's done, and one, I'd never really listened too much to David Bowie. I guess maybe in my mind there was kind of like a different